Oh, okay, there we go. I guess I had to press the button.
Yeah, and it gives you a countdown. We live now, man, right?
Why, you see it?
Do 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 do. Boom. Do 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 do.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's live. It's live.
Yeah, it takes a second. Facebook got to figure it all out.
Everything's fit game.
Oh, stay tuned. Yeah.
This is
But
live.
they can hear everything we're talking about, just by the way. I don't know.
If you're listening, loan me $5.
That's funny.
Yeah, buy Teddy B another monster.
Oh, yeah.
So, I'm tired, man.
It's just time and work pimping, huh?
Nah, man, I told you, I hung up my gators a while ago.
You hung your gators up?
I mean, it's still in the closet. I just don't break them out.
All right. Anyways, everybody ready?
All right,
in this.
so it's live now?
Yeah, they can hear us.
All right.
I mean, hold on. You want me to
Just
talk?
stay tuned.
So what in the world?
Whoa. Okay, there we go.
Here we're going. Go.
Are we in? Hey, we back. EFG, we all we got. Everything's fair game. And this is Nicholas Sage, and to my right,
It's the young, fly, super cat.
you ain't
Super
acting,
cool.
You ain't acting too fly
Super
right now.
cool, yeah.
Super cool, right? Now it's the one and only Teddy
We
B
know you
Love.
sleepy.
Yeah, man, a little bit.
And this is Hill, a.k.a. Ray Hugo, a.k.a. Yazone, a.k.a. EFG plug number 3.
Plug number 3. I got you. Yo, I think Teddy B, he must have just came back from a red eye from Troy, Montana.
I told you I was going out there, man.
Troy
Laying a
Montana.
flat booty. I was
Troy
there.
Montana.
I don't know what he was
Troy
looking for,
Montana.
but
The
he was
flat
there.
booty. I just had to make sure it was there.
Nah, I
And
hear
that
you.
it stays. Don't no man want no woman with no flat booty.
Oh, man.
To all my big booty women out there, we appreciate you. All y'all flat butts, get to squatting.
Oh, wow.
All of the messages that were just said
Already, man.
prior to me speaking were all only the thoughts and shared message of Teddy B Love.
The views
The
on this.
views of this.
Anyway, our topic today, we're going to talk about all we got is sports and entertainment.
That's all we got.
That's all we got. It seems like that's all we have out here. That's the only thing that a lot of people in the general public are heralding. And as we're coming off of this NBA Finals that a lot of people have been watching, real controversial, highly rated, highly predictable. We're gonna set it off talking about that, and then we're gonna go into talking about sports in general and sports being an actual occupation, and should players start out young doing it and growing up, because there's a lot of controversy going on with the age as far as basketball, and then we're gonna talk about more of that. So
No doubt.
Let's start, man. So who watched the finals and what's your thoughts? What were your thoughts for?
Watched it in bits and pieces. I think maybe game 1 or 2 I might have watched from beginning to end, but every other game I was probably doing something else. And then my brother would call me and be like, "Hey man, you watching the game?" And I'm like, "No." So then he'll kind of let me know what's going on, and I might peek in to see what's going on. But as I expected, the Warriors ended up winning, so it is what it is.
That's what was sad about these playoffs, man. It was like, first of all, what was sad about it is both of those teams ran right through their conferences like it was nothing. So you already knew who was going to be in the finals. And then, secondly, it was like you already knew who was going to win. So it's crazy. The game back in the day, sometimes you had an inkling who you thought might win, but it was always still real competitive. It's not really competitive now, man.
When Jordan was there, you knew Jordan never was going to win.
Well,
You didn't know how many games, but you knew they were gonna win.
but people was giving them a tough time. It wasn't like they were just breezing through all the competition like that.
Well, that second 3 they was.
Well, yeah, okay.
For the 72 and 10 year, they blazed through.
That's what I'm saying. Them last
yeah.
3, you kind of
Yeah.
knew what it was going to be.
Yeah.
Especially coming out the East, because the East had kind of fell off a
Yeah.
little bit by then.
And you look forward to a certain degree to Chicago doing it because Jordan was the man.
I mean, there's a lot of people that hated Mike too, but you just kind of knew. Like, even if you weren't a Bulls fan, say you was a Lakers fan, Celtics, Pistons, whatever, you still kind of knew. As much as you hated Mike, it was just like, you know what it's going to be, so you might as well just enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? As much as you may not have liked him. Like, nowadays, like, they make everybody a villain. Every year is a different villain.
Yeah.
LeBron is always in the top 3 of villains, but he's also in the top 3 of liked players, too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, he's on both sides. Like, he can do either or. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of these cats, you just kind of like, you either love them or you hate them. And the media is the one that shifts it which way, whether you like them or you hate them. LeBron went to Miami, we hate you. You come back to Cleveland, we love you again.
Right.
But then you don't win, so we don't necessarily hate you, but we're like, they're kind of on the fence. You know what I'm saying? So
what about we were talking about these players? What about Kevin Durant? Because he's been kind of controversial. So a lot of people that I've talked to, them like, man, he went there to the Warriors. Yeah, of course they're going to win. But it's like, nah, he was a free agent. He was able to make that choice and went there. And he obviously wasn't getting it done in Oklahoma. He couldn't, coexist with Westbrook, whatever, But
he gets a lot of that flack though because he went to the team that beat him the previous year.
Right.
Think about how many cats have actually done it. Karl Malone and Gary Payton went to the Lakers with Shaq and Kobe. They didn't win, but they went, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they were older in their careers, but they were still considered stars on the teams that they were previously, right?
Right.
So you make moves like that, they don't catch a whole lot of flack because you know they ring chasing, right?
Right.
Durant ring chasing too.
Right.
It just so happens it happened in his prime, where all those other guys, they were over the hill per se. Durant hadn't even really reached his prime yet. He basically mirrored what LeBron did. Now, many people will say they'll compare the two teams, the Miami Heat and the Golden State Warriors, and say, well, it's not exactly the same because, you know, they didn't really, like, Golden State has a much more stacked team than Miami had at that time. Mm-hmm. But it's still the same premise of you come up to a free agency and you decide to go to a different team. You know, it just so happened it was the team that, like, beat you guys, but nobody ever said you couldn't do that. I think it was just an unwritten rule because of what we grew up watching. You saw Larry Bird, you saw Magic Johnson, you saw Michael Jordan. You know, you saw all these different players that kind of like stayed with the team and like owned that specific area, that team. You know, it's like, but in the end, what do these guys care about? Rings.
The ring. Everybody ring chasing. If you even look back in the day, Barkley did it late, but remember when he jumped on with Drexler and Elijah on, right? They was just a little too old and a little too slow. Had Barkley did it maybe 2 years before, they would have had a shot.
Oh,
right? Think about Boston. Right. Garnett and Ray Allen linking up with Paul Pierce. Now, the X Factor ended up being Rondo because you didn't see that coming out of Rondo, but the veterans pushed him, and so they got that. You know what I mean? That was like a freebie for them, right?
Right.
It's a lot of cats that go out here ring chasing. Nobody ever pays attention to it. Nobody said nothing to Rodman when he went to Chicago.
Right.
And Rodman already had 2
Nobody
rings with
said
Detroit.
nothing to John
Nobody said a word, nothing.
Right.
Sally done been on with the Lakers, the Bulls, and the Pistons.
Nobody
that ain't ring
anything.
chasing.
Right.
Everybody that picks up Big Shot Bob.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Robert not ring chasing.
Right.
The fact that Durant catches so much flack is because he went to the team that had just beat him.
Yeah.
But what's the old saying? If you can't beat him, join him. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
But everybody is dogging him, right?
Mm-hmm.
But why? Because he ring chasing. So what? That's what everybody does. Think about it in baseball. The Yankees do it every year.
They go and they get the top.
If you
free
did
agents
anything
all the time.
to the Yankees, beat them in any type of way, CC Sabathia was destroying the Yankees. What happened the next year?
They
threw the bank at him. Like, come on over here. Go and cut your beard off. Just keep the mustache and come on and get this World Series ring, right?
Right.
They do it in every sport. But they just don't talk about it. See, they elevating it because it's Kevin Durant. Like, no.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody's ring chasing. Everybody does it.
Well, the interesting thing about it is when you think of him leaving OKC, it's one of those situations where was he the biggest star at OKC?
In my eyes, he was. He was my favorite.
Yeah, he was my favorite, and I thought he was the number one guy there. But you know,
it never really felt like his team, though.
No, and it was one of those situations where it seemed like it was like a tug of war between he and Westbrook, you know, and so it came to the point where he's like, well, I think we've gone as far as we can go. And I mean, you have to give respect to a guy who says, well, I think we have gone as far as we could go. I think he wouldn't have caught all this flack if he did something like going to the Washington Wizards or something.
Right.
You know, if he'd have went to Washington and then helped them, they probably wouldn't have beaten Cleveland, but you never know.
It would have been a shot had he went to San Antonio. Yeah. I would have loved to see that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? He wouldn't have caught no flack, and they probably would have beat Golden State, and they would have had a real good chance of beating Cleveland.
Right.
Anywhere he was going to be an asset.
Yeah.
You would be stupid not to go to a contender.
Right.
You already with a contender. I'm not downgrading nothing. You know what I'm saying? That's just like if you're in a relationship and you leave this woman, the next woman should be an upgrade, and vice versa. If you leave that man, the next dude should be an upgrade,
yeah.
right?
Right.
I've been seeing a whole bunch of these memes, and they funny too. Ladies, take notes from Kevin Durant. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you may have to switch in order to get that ring, right? You know what I'm saying? But I mean, it's the truth. Everybody's chasing something because who doesn't want to be a champion in something that they do?
Right.
You want to be the best at what you do. He can play ball. He's a hooper. Why not go to a team where you can get the ring? Because nobody wants to be Barkley at the end of the day with no ring. Ewing at the end of the day with no ring. Karl Malone, John Stockton at the end of the day with no ring. Great players, no ring. So when they start talking about championships, them was the dudes that you like, well, you can't tell me nothing because you didn't get one.
Not at all.
Guarantee, had they been able to think like these dudes think now, they would have all posseed up.
Because see, this is the thing about him, man. Is I mean he's getting the bag outside of just playing the NBA. He's got commercials, he got endorsements and all that stuff. But ultimately, man, when I seen him lose the first time against Miami, LeBron, and he was crying, I said, that dude is a competitor. I said, this dude cares about winning. He cares about the game. See, it's, James Harden, who was on his team prior to, he didn't care about winning or losing. As long as his stats are good, he's getting his bag, he's straight. But this dude actually cares about winning. And so that's in the NBA, that's what I want to see. I want to see cats who really care about the game, about winning. I mean, and you can tell, you can kind of see like some of the players, they don't care, like they just out there playing, getting their check. But he was really wanting it. And he said at the end of the game, I think he said he's like, this has been his dream since he was 8 years old. And I'm like,
he's like, I hit it, mama. We here. This been my dream.
And his mom was up there like, I don't care what they say about you, you did it. I was like, see, that's what I'm talking about. They had a dream, you know what I mean? And he fulfilled that dream. So, I mean, that's to me, that's the essence of what you want to see in the NBA, man.
So, a little side note on this: does this championship for him get a asterisk?
Why?
Well, considering that
they're trying to say this on the radio too, by the way.
Well, I'm just saying because
ahead.
people are holding this against him for supposedly going to an already stacked team that went 73-9 last year. So it wasn't like he continued to toil with OKC and they finally got over the hump and won the championship. He actually went to a team that was already highly successful. So does that get an asterisk for him? Does that tarnish his MVP and getting the ring? And I mean, in the whole scheme of things, in the pantheon of greats?
No, because Cleveland put together the team that they wanted. They put together the people. They snatched. They robbed the players from other teams that they wanted to rob because LeBron cried for them. Number one. Number two, they were. I mean, when you watch the games, they stood up with them to a certain degree, along with the help of the refs. So.
What, you just talking about Game 4? Because games 1, 2, and 3, they look like a very, very thin line trying to stop a tsunami wave, in all honesty.
So, I mean, they had everything that they said that they wanted, man. And then, I watched the last little interview with LeBron, and he's like, we were hurt and this and that. I'm like, all y'all hurt. All the dudes out there playing.
Well, how were they hurt when they only lost one game coming up to they had all that rest?
No, he was talking about them more or less being hurt throughout the season.
Yeah.
So they didn't get the full group of people until it was right before the playoffs. So they didn't get to jail as much during the season.
Well, didn't Golden State also? Kevin Durant was out.
Yeah, he was out for quite a bit too.
Right, but I mean, you got to think they asking him the question. He has to have an answer.
No. I don't fault LeBron for that answer or anything in that aspect. I'm just saying, you can't say "woe is me" when the other team that you lost to experienced the same type of situation.
Yeah, but I mean, they just they're going to try to find a way to tarnish it one way or the other with Durant. My whole thing is this: if you tired of losing, go somewhere where you can win.
Right.
In life, if you tired of being broke, get a better job.
Right.
If you tired of the situation you in, change it. That's exactly what he did. Why are y'all hating on him for that? That's what I'm trying to figure out, right? I'm not knocking him at all, because my whole thing is this. You wanted to change something, so you did. What's wrong with that? Because, you should have stayed down with your boys. You not winning with them. But you playing your hardest. Bounce.
Well,
go somewhere where you can get the dub.
The whole thing now, though, is when you think about it in the chase for a championship, it becomes selfish. Because they were snake bitten at OKC.
Yeah.
It's similar to the LA Clippers. You're snake bitten. Even with you putting together a good team that's on paper looks like they should, really shake up the world. Injuries here, different things happening where the team's kind of falling apart at certain points. They were kind of snake bitten. You had your best shot when they played the Heat. They lost in that, and then they had a couple different times when they had some shots with the Western Conference Finals or getting there, injuries happen with Westbrook or Kevin Durant. It's just one of those situations where you have to then look at it and say, you know, I'm kind of in my prime. It's only a little bit of more time before I'm probably going to be on the downside of my prime. So do I feel that we have all the pieces we need to actually win this whole thing?
No.
Or right. Because what? They got rid of Harden.
They got rid of Harden and Ibaka, two big pieces.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all give me a worse team and still expect me to make it back to the finals. It's not going to happen.
Got rid of
So you
Scott
taking
Brooks.
everything away from me that I need, but you still expect me to stay? For what? Why I'm going to stay if you taking everything away from me I need? That's just like taking the mechanics' tools and going, fix my car. With what?
Bare hands.
Your car gonna sit there and stall out. I'm gonna just go and get a new car and keep it rolling, right?
Right.
I ain't knocking him for it. I ain't mad at all.
To me, it doesn't really matter. I mean, in the end, you're just they're trying to win. You're trying to win as many rings as you possibly can. LeBron's trying to do it. You're trying to be as greedy as you possibly can. You want to be the top of the game until it's clearly shown that you're no longer the top of the game.
You're trying to boost your resume.
You're trying to boost your resume.
You got the MVP. You done been to the Olympics. You done played in All-Star games. You one of the top two. You probably the number 2 dude in the league. Honestly, probably behind LeBron. You know what I'm saying? All you missing is what? The title.
Right.
You get the title, you solidify Hall of Famer now. You can't take that away from him, right?
Nope.
Bam. There it is.
Well, then the bag just gets bigger now. Now the bag is gonna be stupid now. His bag is already getting big because he's in commercials and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean it's gonna add up now because you could put NBA champion on the resume.
Right.
You could put NBA Finals MVP on the resume, and let's be honest, he earned that.
Right.
He was balling.
Oh yeah.
Without Kevin Durant, the Warriors aren't winning that series.
No,
Right.
He just totally because Thompson was just not
He wasn't
consistent
there,
enough. Now he had a couple games where he started putting it on, but then even against the Spurs, you know, with Kawhi Leonard down. Atlanta. It was a whole different type of game, but you know, even before then, it was really on Steph Curry and Kevin Durant. They kind of put it on their back in that series because you know Thompson kind of lost his shot. I don't know if it's because he wasn't getting as many chances to shoot as he would do before.
Kardashian. We talked about this already. Kardashian.
Oh, he's part of. He got caught up in that Kardashian.
You talking about Clay or you talking about Tristan?
I'm talking about Clay.
I'm talking about Clay Thompson.
We
talking about John B.
You talking about Tristan Thompson?
Tristan, yeah.
That dude is not worth the money he's being paid. That's the reason why the Cavs lost.
Think so?
Yeah, you bringing in what is he going to do? Like you at certain points you need some scoring, right? He'll get you some putbacks.
So LeBron need to go recruit Draymond. It's a possibility.
I mean, they up in barbershops together hanging out.
Right, LeBron over there like Draymond.
We gonna
give you the bag. Let's go.
You would never see Isaiah Thomas hanging out with Jordan and no dag.
No, but think about it like this:
But
Rodman and Jordan didn't necessarily get along, and Jordan went and got Rodman.
Yeah,
it's not impossible. It's not impossible for it to happen.
Why don't LeBron just go and get his boy Melo? Melo's sitting out there like, hello.
Because Carmelo don't play no defense, and eventually they gonna need some defense.
Thompson does.
He played better defense than Carmelo. Thompson does what you need to do. He gets rebounds, putbacks, and occasionally
when he shows up,
he's getting paid a lot to do that.
Yeah, when he decides to play.
Yeah. I don't know, but shout out to the Warriors and Durant.
Yeah,
getting that W.
Yeah.
Cleveland will be back in the fight. It's gonna be the same two teams next year,
unless
I don't know.
Washington.
I don't want to see Golden State again, but I mean. I don't know. Cleveland got to get rid of that garbage off of their bench, though. They got so much excess dead weight.
I saw Dante Jones. I was like,
they need to get rid of Dante Jones. They need to get rid of Darren Williams. They need to get rid of Derek Williams. They need to get rid of Kyle Korver. That was a horrible pickup, if you ask me.
I think they thought that was what was going to put them over the top, and I'm like, but he's just not. You saw him at Atlanta. He had hot spurts.
He fit with Atlanta because they play that team game. Yeah. Cleveland play more ISO, and it's like when we get you the ball, you gotta hit it. You're not Ray Allen, so you ain't out there shooting. They gotta get rid of James Jones too because he just sat there.
And you can see teams when they played him, they just chased him off the line. Yeah. What is he gonna do once he pump fakes and you run by him?
Nothing, because he pump fake and one dribble. He don't penetrate. He don't do nothing else.
He's not gonna try to go to the hole. Ray Allen, even in his older years, he pump fake you and then go to the hole and rise up and dunk or something. Yeah. Kyle Korver's going to shoot you 18-foot jumper. That's not going to really do you anything. You know, he might get it blocked. He might do an awkward pass, and he wasn't catching many of the
they
passes.
I just don't know what that means. They just should never pick them up, man. They just I know who they were trying
I think
to do.
But they were looking ahead to Golden State, and they were like, we want to spread out the floor even more, and Kyle Korver seemed like the guy to do it. I would have went after JJ Redick of anybody.
I was just thinking about Redick because at least Redick could penetrate.
Yeah, Redick will penetrate, floater or something,
Right.
but you know those Korver, he's going to shoot or he's going to pass.
Williams would have been great about 6 years ago for them.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But once he went to Brooklyn and got crossed up one too many times, third, they put him on the bench for edge-up purposes only.
That's funny.
So J.R. Smith, aka Two-Face, because he can hit you with two different sides depending on the day. He was on fire yesterday?
Yeah.
But a couple games before that, where was he?
He got a lot going on in his personal life, man. I do think that affected him some. I do.
Well, I thought he moved to Cleveland because they didn't have a nightlife.
Who knows, man? He moved to
No
Cleveland.
offense to Cleveland. No offense to Cleveland.
He moved to Cleveland because he
people.
wanted to try to get a ring. And
I just
get
heard it was
New
silent.
York.
It was more nice.
I'm proud of him, man. I'm glad he didn't smoke weed last night. You know, he was actually focused and hitting shots, man. I'm glad he wasn't high on something, man. Usually that dude looked high. He always looked high, man.
So considering they didn't win a championship and stuff, so you're going to see him most of the summertime. He's just going to be fully clothed, right?
Yeah. I was saying last year he was shirt off the whole. He was so happy, shirt off everywhere. He was
If you had to suffer through with the Knicks for all them years, man, I'd be doing.
You know who he is?
Backflips.
Now that I just thought about it, he's Little B if Little B played basketball.
You think so?
I think he's Little B if Little B played basketball. just all over. But we'll put we'll end the whole finals talk. So we're going into discussing.
All right, so we're gonna stick with the NBA, and then we can veer off to something else. But I guess right now I got this article here about they're changing up NBA draft eligibility rules. Okay, so.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, so I'm gonna start reading this off. It says less than a month away from draft, where about 20 players who completed just about 1 year of college will be welcomed into the league. Silver expects the so-called one and done rule to be modified somehow before too long. But in saying that, Silver also acknowledged that even he isn't certain what makes the most sense going forward. He says, "My sense is it's not working for anyone. It's not working for the college coaches and athletic directors I hear from." Excuse me, goodness, my daggone allergies. "They're not happy with the current system, and I know our teams aren't happy either, in part because they don't necessarily think the players who are coming into the league are getting the kind of training that they would expect to see. It's just been over a decade since the NBA and the Players Union agreed on a rule in that says players either need to be 19 years old or to be 1 year removed from high school before being eligible." Excuse me 1 minute. Oh man,
he's so touched right now. It's just
it's not really.
He got him teary eyed over here. Like, it's just such a shame.
No, it's really my allergies. There are arguments for raising the minimum age to 20. There are arguments for getting rid of the rule altogether. Silver said he expects to have more talks in the coming months. "I think we all agree that we need to make a change. As I've said before, our position, at least our formal position going into bargaining, that we wanted to raise the minimum age from 19 to 20. And of course, their formal position was that they want to lower the age from 19 to 18. I think it's one of the issues we need to come together and study." So what are y'all thoughts about that? About people coming in the league, young versus older, some straight out of high school, some going, in college and getting some experience or something, or maturing to a certain degree. Because I pulled up a list of players who came straight out of high school, and it seemed like a lot of the ones who become successful were the ones who came straight out of high school. I mean, they've been kind of exceptions, like LeBron. You got Jacoby. You got a number of them. So I don't know. What do y'all think? I mean, do you think players need to stay in college and get a level of experience under their belt versus coming straight out of high school? Or
I think my views changed because when I was younger, I was like, hey, if you have the talent to play, let them go to the league. Or no, actually, it was the opposite. My view was, hey, you need to go to college a little bit, see if you can dominate on that level, and then, go from there. But then as I got older, I looked at it and I'm like, if it's a guarantee that the team is going to, you're going to be with a team, because what do we go to college for anyway? What's the whole thing for college is, certain people say it's for an experience, but you're trying to set yourself up to possibly, go into a different occupation, set up your future in one way or another. So if these guys already know what they want to do with their lives and it's playing sports, and you might as well just allow them to go and do it. Now, hopefully they have a good amount of people backing them, a good support group. LeBron had a good support group. Kobe had his dad who was a professional athlete, so he could kind of tell him, because I think the part of playing basketball is the easy part. It's the whole part of it being a business now, So it's one of those situations where I think if you like LeVar Ball with his kids, I think he has a pretty good view of what's going on, and I think he'll be a good support. They'll form a good support group for his kids when they come out and play. It's one of those situations where I think it just depends on the player, in question. It's, do you have that type of support? Do you have the skills coming out of high school that matches the NBA? Like, are you totally dominating high school right now? Like that guy, Zion Williamson. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. I think he's from like South Carolina or something. Dude scoring like 50-something, 70-something points in games. It's one of those things where you kind of say, well, maybe he doesn't need to go to college if he's dominating like that. Now, I know high school and NBA is different, but, during the summer, these dudes run with NBA players all the time. They go to these different camps and stuff all the time. So if you measure up, why make them have to wait a year? I mean, what you should probably do is just make sure that maybe they don't go to school per se, but make sure that they go to some type of financial, different courses and stuff, kind of let them know, kind of like an orientation type of deal, which I think they've been trying to do in certain aspects. I know in John Wall's case, I think they had, when his class came in, they did those type of things, but let them know what it's kind of like, the business side, the sports side is going to be fine, but let them know that it's a business and what, kind of like what it's like going day to day, going city to city, playing and all that different stuff. Try to get their focus together in that aspect. But I think they should be able to, if they can play with the pros, they should play.
Now here's a list of some players here we have. And I ain't gonna go back to the 70s. I'll start in the 90s. You have Kevin Garnett, Kobe Bryant, Jermaine O'Neal, Tracy McGrady, Al Harrington, Rashard Lewis. I don't even know who this is. Who's Corleone Young? I don't even know who that is.
Oh, you never heard about his story?
What happened to him?
He was kind of like supposed to be like, I think he was
for the Pistons.
Yeah, I think he was supposed to be like LeBron before LeBron in a certain aspect. But he just he couldn't get it together. I don't know if it was an injury thing or he was just not mature enough to handle, night in, night out. And also, these guys have to understand that even though they say they love you and they are excited to bring you in, once you come in, you're property now. Right. So how they deal with you is how they deal with you. Mm-hmm. So what you see with a lot of these different players, what's your boy that was with the Wizards and ended up going with Kwame Brown. Yeah, right. Everybody was talking about his incredible athleticism and stuff, but once you come in there, if you don't start showing some level of potential, they're going to basically trade you off for somebody else. Right. And you just get malaise. They just no longer have any, they're no longer looking at you the same way they did before. So, but yeah, the guy Corleone Young, I believe I read something or saw a story on him, maybe like ESPN 30 for 30 or something, but just one of those situations where it was a bad deal for him. Mm-hmm. Great high school player. Just probably should have went the college route. at least. So it depends. But what you think, Teddy?
I think honestly, man, it just depends on the person, like you said. But I mean, just as a general rule, I think they should stay 2 years.
You think they should
just
stay
because I feel like the game might be there, but give it time. Give yourself time to go from that rawness to polished a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of the dudes that Hill named off of that list were like 1 in a million type of players coming out of high school. Because if you think about it, he keep going down that list, you got a whole bunch of busts coming after that. Because they weren't necessarily one of a kind. Yeah. They were just hyped up wherever they were from, right? LeBron, you saw it. He was one of a kind. If you watch Garnett in high school, he was one of a kind. Yeah. But Grady was one of a kind.
Is Stromile Swift on that list?
What year would he have been?
He'd have been late 90s.
Late 90s, early 2000s, somewhere around there. But
maybe he played in college.
No, he did. He went to Memphis, I think.
Yeah,
okay.
No,
but you get a lot of these dudes, and it's like they need to polish just different aspects of it, right? You coming straight out of high school, now you're in the NBA, and you a big star. They put that microphone in your face. What you gonna say?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah. If you in college, you get used to that. So you'll fumble in interviews in the beginning, and then later on, it'll be a whole lot more polished. Yeah, because you'll start hearing the same questions. Okay, I have a standard studio answer for this, this, and this. They may hit you with a few one-offs, but for the most part, you know what I'm saying, you'll be used to having the microphone in your face to where you'll be able to talk about it. Because typically in high school, if you the big phenom, you might get ESPN interview you when you have a game on ESPN or if it's McDonald's All-American or something like that.
Or you're announcing or something.
But typically you're just going to have a regular news dude, your local news guy talking to you. You build a rapport with him, that's one person. Yeah. But what happens when you're on the podium and it's 60 people in there and they all have a different question to ask you
and they're
shooting them shots at you like bullets. Yeah. Then what you going to do? Then you start getting frustrated and you don't know how to act. Now the coaches is pulling you to the office, the PR people pulling you to the office. Okay, now we can't interview him, or if he interviews, he's got to have another polished player with him to interview. See, nobody ever thinks about the little small stuff like that. You can ball, you can ball. Yeah. A lot of that is just God-given talent, right? But it's everything else you got to polish up on. Plus, you got to know, if I'm coming into the NBA, okay, the standard contract is going to be this much amount of money. I got to pay my agent this much amount of money. Most dudes be like, all right, I'm going to buy my parents a house. Or if they already got a house, I'm going to get them a nicer car. You know what I'm saying? My dad got a raggedy pickup truck. I'm going to get him a nice pickup truck.
Right.
Different stuff as far as with your money. So then that way you don't go broke. It's a lot of that stuff that they can school you on while you're still in school. Because technically you're still a kid and you're growing up mentally. You still not ready, even at 20, to handle. At 20, if somebody gave you $20 million, you'd be broke right now. Right. Unless you got a good family surrounding you or a good group of people or a good team surrounding you, you're going to blow through that money.
But those are all good points by Teddy. But the one thing about it is the NBA doesn't even follow by those rules. Because if you look at how the scouts do things, most of these guys that have been playing 2, 3 years, 4 years, that have gotten polished, that have all of that polish and stuff, they're not getting picked in the lottery. They're getting picked second round or some unselected free agent later on. You know, like I'm thinking like somebody like Derek Walton to play for University of Michigan, polished. He's a good player, but is he it's one of those things where the NBA has gotten so wrapped up in the whole potential and the measurables and stuff like that. They're more like, oh, well, he's young, we can mold him. It's almost like all that polish you said they would have coming out of college. They don't want that polish coming into the league. It's almost like we want to mold them in the way that we want to do it, you know.
Yeah, but that's why I say only maybe 2 years. Leave after your sophomore year. Because think about even the greats in the league that left after 2 years. Like Iverson left early. Yeah. Shaq left early. Right. There's a lot of people that left early. You got just enough polish on you to where you can handle it. We'll shave everything else off once you get there. But I'm just talking about coming 17, 18, and then jumping in a league where the average age is 24 and 25. You get what I'm saying? You're going to get lost.
Now, do you think somebody like, because his beginnings were kind of rocky, and then he just got great after that, Kobe.
Kobe's beginnings to me weren't necessarily rocky. They already had a squad. Yeah. They were trying to fit Kobe in.
Yeah, he was trying to find out.
Because you got to think, Nick Van Exel was there, Eddie Jones was there. They had a team. They was nice. They was like, we're going. See, they took a chance on Kobe. Jerry West said, no, I want the young boy, but I want him to sit. Okay, now watch what everybody else is doing. Now, where do you fit? Okay, because eventually you're going to replace the guy that's already in your spot.
which was
So
Eddie
how
Jones.
do you figure out how you fit with that system, right?
Okay.
That's why it seemed like it took so long. Plus, it wasn't like when Kobe got there, everything was put on Kobe's shoulders. Kind of like how LeBron went to Cleveland. Everything was put on his shoulders. It was like, no, you're going to come in here and you're going to learn from Eddie Jones. You're going to learn from Nick Van Exel. You're going to watch Shaq, watch how he interviews, watch everything he does. Then take your stuff, your ethnicity, and the fact that you've been overseas and all that stuff, and your polish is different from Shaq's. Shaq's tell a lot of jokes. We want you to be a little more serious. Y'all can be the yin to the yang, but it'll work perfectly, right?
Now, excuse me, I'm going to interject real quick. He was on the flow. Kobe wasn't watching none of those dudes. He was watching Michael Jordan all the time.
No, what I'm saying, once he got to the league,
we had to execute.
I'm talking about in practice
And he
every
sounded
single
like
day.
we had to execute.
Watching that.
Even in practice, he was watching Michael Jordan, man.
We had to execute,
He chewed his gum. He leaned over when he was tired. All of that from Jordan.
Like him,
he walked like him. Come on, man.
Rings like him too. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it paid
Now,
off.
he growing that beard out. He need to cut that beard off just like Jordan. He's looking crazy right now. He looking
Kobe paid. He don't
has-been-ish.
care, man. Kobe is relaxing. He's enjoying his life.
Kobe gonna turn into your boy Phil Jackson.
Right.
He gonna be the new Zen
The
master,
new
like
Zen master.
Young Mamba.
young Mamba. But nah, you made good points in them going at least 2 years. I would have no problem with that. It's just the NBA would then have to, these different scouts would have to kind of switch the way that you view stuff, because there's always gonna be some young dude that they say, oh, he's incredible, he's an athletic, he's phenomenon, a phenom and stuff, and then it's kind of one of those things where these other guys that have, and the whole thing with college is not only are you practicing and getting prepared for games, but you still have classes.
Yeah.
Unless you Ben Simmons and then you just said you didn't go to class.
Or unless you Tony from Blue Chip.
Tony.
How you flunking TV? He said Tony's flunking TV.
That's funny, man. Now the cat I believe should have went to college, and I can't stand this dude, man. Dwight Howard, man. He should have went to college, man.
What?
Should have went to college, man. He should have came straight in. He should have went to college.
But
man.
why though? He came in, he was a superstar, he got his money, it worked
Super
out for him.
Bum.
I mean, you may not like him as a person, but I'm just talking about as far as
Super
what they're looking for in the league. They called him Superman. He went to Orlando. They went to a finals. He couldn't hit free throws, but he scored buckets. He got rebounds. He could
He could have
dunk.
been great, man.
He-
He
No, but that
great.
was a personal choice. Once he already got in there, he had already secured the bag. He was good. He did what all the rest of the dudes we talking about did. He came in, and he was a man amongst boys in high school. He fit right in when he got to the league.
Well, it breaks down to this, and I think these guys, it takes a little bit of like knocking that ego down, because everybody's patting you on your back and saying you're the greatest. You might be the greatest in the nation, best player, but do you have the work ethic?
A lot of times, yeah. Because you still have a high schooler's mentality.
Like, do you have that work ethic? Because some of these different people, they just got up, rolled out of bed. It's the game tonight, and they scored 35, 10 rebounds, 10 assists, without even really putting anything into it off of natural ability. But do you have that work ethic? Because Kobe had that work ethic.
Right.
Kevin Garnett had that work ethic.
Right. They reminded you of men who were playing with boys. Like, they're already mentally set. Like, no, I'm just doing this because I have to. As soon as I'm able to, I'm going to play with the big dogs. Now, I'm going to tell you another person don't nobody talk about. He only did 1 year in college, but I think that helped mold him a lot. Carmelo. That 1 year at Syracuse helped him. Now, mind you, they took him all the way to the championship, won the championship. But think about how much he grew from Oak Hill, from that 1 year to Syracuse. By the time he got to the league, he was different, because now he was on that LeBron level. You know what I'm saying? He had skills, but mentally you didn't always see it there. Carmelo would talk in interviews, but he kind of shied away from being, interviewed. Once he had to do all that, with Syracuse running in the Final Four, they was interviewing Carmelo every single game. And every game you see him get more and more polished, right?
So hopefully, basically what Teddy B is saying is when you go to college, hopefully you're on a team that goes into some type of championship situation.
I think that helped Trey Burke too.
Yeah, it did.
You know what I'm saying? It helped him be polished because he wasn't highly recruited coming out of high school, or else he would have stayed in the same city. He went somewhere else, right? And all of a sudden, it helped him get polished. Helped Hardaway Jr. get polished.
Yeah.
Like certain dudes, it's just about the other stuff that you don't think about as far as with the job.
Well, and I get that, but then also you have to think about with your game, how well-rounded is it? Or because some of these guys, they had to go to college because coming out of high school they might have been able to score, but they couldn't play defense. Or they might have been really athletic and could play defense, but their shot wasn't was broken. Mm-hmm. So all of these different things all come into it. You gotta, as we said, it's basically you have to just kind of put together. If you have that type of backing and if you really are prepared to get to that next level,
I mean, you got to think about even dudes think about Telfair, who was actually just in the news for the guns and stuff. But think about it. They were highly touted because that was Marbury's little cousin. Mm-hmm. He went to Lincoln High School in New York. He was real fancy with the Rock, Jay-Z coming to his games. Mm-hmm. That's cool. What happened, like Samuel Jackson said on, what's that movie? I'm thinking Fresh. Put the clock on him, I chew him up. What happened? Time get on him. They put a little trap on him because Telfair was a small guard. Yeah, he could handle the ball. Wasn't the best shooter. Could penetrate when he got room. Yeah. Soon as they put that trap on him, what happened? He was bouncing from team to team, and then all of a sudden he was gone. Yeah. But he was highly touted on the cover of every magazine. Yeah. Some people just got it. Some people, to me, he was hyped up. Mm-hmm. He had the hype behind him out of New York.
And his cousin Stephon went to Georgia Tech.
Right. Marbury did a year. Helped him polish his game. Iverson went to Georgetown. Helped him polish his game.
So it's really about, especially if you're a smaller guy.
Yeah.
You really need to, because that college leap is at least you're gonna see a lot of big guys. You're gonna see a lot of teams really scheme to try to stop you.
As opposed to high school, you just got a gift. You got a gift.
Yeah.
High school coaches ain't breaking down certain traps and presses and all that kind of stuff. In college, these coaches, this their job to stop you.
They're getting paid millions
of dollars to stop you if you're playing against them. So they're going to throw everything at you. Yeah. That's why you see some dudes that go to college and you like, he wasn't that highly touted out of high school, and all of a sudden you're like, he's a monster. He's ready. Mm-hmm. Why? Because that might have been the light bulb that he needed to click on in order for him to go to the next level. Exactly.
Blake Griffin was one of those guys, probably he probably was somewhat highly touted just because of his athleticism, but I didn't hear anything about him until his junior year.
Yeah, because all it was like,
Oklahoma.
This kid can dunk and this, that, and the third. What happened when Blake got to the league? The dunking got him to the league. He done worked on that jump shot. That's what's keeping him in the league. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? A lot of these dudes, it's all about getting polished.
And as you said, not only is it with dealing with the press and stuff, it's also being able to deal with the media, because now you're a commodity. They're going to put you in commercials and stuff like that. So if you're hard to work with, if you're immature,
you don't want to be Rocky Balboa and can't read the cue cards.
Yeah.
And then they're like, you know what? We're just going to put music behind you. We're going to throw a Jay-Z song behind this, and all you got to do is bob your head and add a product in your hand.
Isotoners,
product placement. It's a lot of that though, man. And then,
so it's a level of, because at that point you are a business.
It matures you.
Yeah.
Which is what college is supposed to.
I'm glad you said that, because in this article, somebody actually says that about this particular player. I'm about to read this article about, if you don't mind starting me.
Okay.
All right. So he made millions in the NBA. Now Darius Miles is bankrupt. Basketball standout Darius Miles was a first-round draft pick with the Los Angeles Clippers in 2000 NBA draft with a contract worth $9 million. He starred in a movie with Scarlett Johansson and Ryan Reynolds. He landed an endorsement with Michael Jordan's athletic brand. His star was rising, and his financial future looked secure. In June, he filed for bankruptcy. That's in 2016. Miles is 34 now. It's been 16 years since the 6'9" forward was drafted by the Clippers right out of high school. But injuries, legal problems, and investments have left Miles asking the court to allow him to sell off his assets to pay creditors. Miles listed $460,385 in assets and $1.5 million in liabilities. All right. Miles and his bankruptcy attorney declined to comment. It's a plight many professional athletes encounter, says Adonal Foyle. It's difficult for players, especially those who didn't go to college, to be prepared to understand the business side of what they do. It isn't just the education, it's increased maturity and varied experiences that help a player better understand the financial side of professional sports. They need to understand that what they do isn't just on the basketball court, but they are the CEO. They need to find the right people to watch over their money and then watch those people. It's a lot of work. 60% of NBA players file for bankruptcy in 5 years after their retirement. Bad investments, misplaced trust, luxury purchases, and child support can contribute to players' financial collapse. Miles listed a $20,000 child support debt in bankruptcy. He lost more than $100,000 in 2008 in a California real estate deal. Another real estate deal with fellow investor, former Rams player Marshall Faulk and rapper Nelly was mired in lawsuits over some property.
That was that St. Louis Connect.
Yeah. Newspaper stories wrote about Miles rewarding himself with diamond jewelry. Potential players should have an agent to handle business affairs, an accountant to handle the taxes, and financial consultant to handle investments, and an attorney to review contracts. Players should find an unpaid mentor. LeBron James, a friend of Miles, has Warren Buffett. Foyle turns to his dad, an economist. The accountant is paramount because of the jock tax. He listed, talking about his debts and stuff like that. He owns a single-family home in Belleville with a value of $241. Blah 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 blah. I don't care about
the house is only worth $241.
$4,000. I'm sorry, $241,000.
Okay, I was about to say
no,
what
no.
a box. He living in a refrigerator box.
After he was drafted, he put his mother up in a house 10 doors down, where she continued to cook and watch out for her only son. She passed in 2013, but yeah, he had a bunch of issues and troubles and stuff. I ain't gonna read it.
I'm gonna tell you what the issue was as far as what him in that era back then, because he was one that jumped straight out of high school.
Yeah,
Darius Miles came straight out of East St. Louis. He was highly touted. The boy could play.
Yeah.
They was like, oh, he's gonna be the new Kevin Garnett because Kevin Garnett was his favorite player.
Right.
Same more or less body frame. He didn't have that killer in him, though, like Garnett.
He didn't speak to himself like a schizo.
Right. But the issue with them back then was something that's new now, that's better for the players now. You can build your brand.
Right.
Right? Their thing was, it was him, it was Quentin Richardson, Lamar Odom. They did the little, you know what I mean, thing. That was cool. But nothing else came around it other than like the little Jordan commercials, okay, that free shoes, right? But what is your brand outside of that, right? And then, yeah, you're going to make investments. Like I said, everybody buy their mama a house or a car or something like that. But what are your other investments, right? A lot of these dudes don't invest in the stock market, but it wouldn't necessarily be stupid to do. And you ain't got to put all your money in there. But then what's the first thing they do? They go buy $1 million and $2 million house, right? But what they fail to realize, it's a property tax on that house. Right? You got to still pay all the utilities in that house. The bills don't stop coming when you purchase the land and the house.
And this is one thing that they don't recognize that I found out of recent time was you have to pay tax for every city you play in. Not only where your home. No, you pay tax all over the nation.
That makes sense.
So it doesn't matter, like the week you get your check, if you played in Golden State, you paying Golden State taxes.
Mm-hmm.
So it just goes by whatever week you getting paid, whatever city you was in.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Yep.
But I mean, that's something good to look out too. That's why a lot of times they be like, a lot of these players is getting screwed over by these financial investors and stuff. I'm sorry, but nobody else is signing my checks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm signing my own checks. Now, I may come to you for advice, but that's advice. I'm going to make the final say so. Well, Teddy B, I think you should really, put your money towards this stock. That's cool. I appreciate it. Let me research it. If I want to do it, then I'll tell you how much. Because if you put in your business and your life into somebody else's hands, they make a mistake, then what? They still going home to go to sleep. You got to go see the IRS man on Monday morning. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's what happens to a lot of these, players, a lot of them. Even just people in business that happens to.
Yeah, you're going to take losses every once in a while, but you have to set up other hustles other than you playing ball because you're one ankle injury away, one knee away, one shoulder, one wrist away from it all being gone. But you've accumulated all these bills that have to be paid, but the money's not coming in. A lot of these dudes, when ESPN did the thing on broke athletes, a lot of what happens is everything that you have is based on the salary that you're making now. In 10 years, you're not making that much money unless you invest really well, right? So say you make an average of $3 million a year for 10 years. That's $30 million, right? What you going to do? Because now, okay, you're 35? What happens if you live to be 85? That's 50 years you're not making $30 million. You got to make that $30 million stretch over the next 50 years. Now, if you got a wife, you got kids, you got family you got to take care of, because everybody,
because you got that girl,
you got a couple baby mamas, whatever.
One.
But you got all these different people in your pockets. You making all these promises that you necessarily can't keep, because now they done got lazy and they not working because they working off of your back. But what happens if your back go out? Now it's over. If you wasn't that smart of a player, you're not about to be a scout. You're not about to be a coach. You about to be working at your local McDonald's or Walmart. You're going to be a greeter. Welcome to Walmart. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not thinking that far ahead. See, a lot of times you got to think, what if? I think the players that are successful with their money think, what if? I'm going to build my brand and I'm going to make as much money as I possibly can off of me right now.
Well, I think everybody took the blueprint that Jordan kind of put together, but they just jumped on it earlier.
Yeah.
Jordan, that was over time, and to the point where he has Team Jordan and stuff. But, like LeBron and them, they just...
Oh, LeBron's...
he got smart.
He was what was that, $90 million for the shoes?
Right. But the in all honesty, it comes down to just how mature and how focused the person is. Some of these kids,
they just circle that you got around you.
Right. So some of these kids, they just having fun. So of course, when you throw $35 million at them, they're just going to blow that away because they're just having fun. They're living in the now. And in sports, no matter if it's basketball, baseball, hockey, football, your time there is finite.
Right.
So, you got to think ahead of, if I'm getting this contract, how many years am I actually going to play? Like how many years am I going to be able to, especially in football, because it comes down to you have to play games to get paid.
Right. Running back, 3 years, average.
Yeah, so if you're a running back and it's an average of 3 years that you will be like healthy without any type of injuries or being grinded to a pulp, then you got to start thinking of other different ways that you, as Teddy B said, to stretch that money
immediately. Because they're doing 3-year deals. So if you only have a 3-year deal and it's worth $3.5 million, you got 3 years to try to flip $3.5 million.
Yeah, going with a plan.
Be Kawhi, live in an apartment, drive the same car because there's nothing wrong with it, and stack your money.
Or do like John Wall did. You get a brand new car, but it's not some crazy Bentley or something, and you just put all sorts of different modifications and stuff to make it really cool. But it's not like a Ferrari or a Lamborghini,
Right? Because you setting yourself up to get robbed anyway. If I got millions of dollars, I'm gonna just keep it real. Teddy B Love, I'm gonna get something like a souped-up Toyota Camry because I'm gonna be able to go into any neighborhood and nobody think anything different.
Well,
now I'm gonna have my one play card, but that's when I'm going out of town.
Well, everybody already know that if I'm making that money, that GT aura is coming with me. So I'm gonna just have to make sure I got people with me.
But I think a lot of it is the people that you have around you, though. Think about it. Shaq got his contract, and he said he blew through like $20 million. And an investor and somebody pulled his coat and was like, "Yo, Shaq, you keep going this route, bro, you'll be broke before the end of your first contract." Shaq said, "You know what? You're right." Now, granted, he had McDonald's endorsements. He had, Pepsi. He had Reebok. You know what I'm saying? You got a lot of people that's throwing money at you. That's cool. But if you have those multiple sources of income, make sure that income makes more income.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You got to look at it that way. And that's just in life, just in general. We regular 9-to-5 dudes, but everybody's looking for that way that any extra income I can get, how can I make this grow for me?
Right.
Because you never know what may happen. Life is not promised to anybody. Tomorrow ain't promised to nobody.
And you know what his bag is? His net worth, allegedly,
Shaq,
$400 million.
400, right? But it's earned though. Think about it. Because Shaq's 7'8". You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But he's likable.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We know he can't fit in that Buick, but Buick was throwing the bag at it. He sat there and was like, you know what I'm saying, drive this Buick like Big Shaq. I mean, it is what it is, but he's smart. The smart ones understand.
Yeah, he has a master's or probably a PhD
right.
now.
He's got a PhD, but it's like you gotta understand the people
PhD
around you too. Sometimes when you elevate so far, you gotta be able to cut people off. Because everybody's surrounded with dead weight, right?
Right.
Say we blow up tomorrow and we all end up being worth $10 million apiece. We all gonna have to change our phone numbers and our address.
Nah, I'm not changing my phone number.
Because people gonna be like, yo, bro, what's good?
I'm not changing my phone
Now, granted,
number.
you can be like, yo, get out my face. You ain't helped me get none of this, right? But who's the first people we gonna take care of? You gonna take care of mom? You know what I'm saying? You gonna take care of maybe your siblings?
I'm putting the bag away and act like I ain't
right.
got it.
But you definitely gonna make sure the kids are
everybody
straight.
gonna be
Right
everybody
back
gonna
to
be tight, though.
Immediate family gonna be
they
straight,
be-
right?
everybody gonna be
Significant
good.
others gonna be good, but not you know the wife or the girlfriend, sisters and brothers and all them. I can't help you. You know what I'm saying? You got to get it just like I had to get it, right?
So it sounds like survivor's remorse.
But I mean, it's just the truth. And a lot of dudes, that's what ends up happening. That's what breaks them down. They got money going so many different places that at the end of the day, it makes everybody else around them lazy and expecting something from them.
Right.
Right? So a lot of these dudes is going broke because a lot of them come from having nothing. So all you see is what's on TV. I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this. I don't care how much it costs because I got money like that. Until the tax man show up. Think about how many celebrities and entertainers tax evasion. And they're like, it was my accountant. He ain't pay my taxes. So now you mad at your accountant. Like I said, sign your own checks.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of celebrities, they learn the hard way, but they built good relationships with somebody like, you know what? I'm going to loan you $1 million to get the tax man off your back because I know you good enough to where you can secure another bag, kick it back, and it won't be no problem. Right? But why are we not thinking, like you said, is it just sports or entertainment? What happened to us being doctors? What happened to us wanting to be lawyers?
Or business owner. I mean, you get this bag. I mean, there's a lot of gosh, I wish I could find some of them, but there's a number of NBA players who have flipped their money and actually done well outside of,
Magic Johnson.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, he's the blueprint.
Yeah. I mean, he about to didn't he? Any general manager now?
Remember he had already had that 5% stock all them years when Shaq and Kobe and was.
And I think he's positioning himself to actually buy Lakers, which I think is going to happen
because he's got the WNBA team already. He's got the smarts. And then he's got that percentage with the Dodgers. Like he's a likable person, right?
Yeah.
And then he makes smart decisions. He's got smart people around him.
Yeah. See, well, the thing about it though, in these different situations, when you're talking about what happened to the doctors, the attorneys, all of that stuff, it comes down to you see somebody playing a game that you like to play. And you're like, I'm pretty good. And you're like, man, maybe I could play in the NBA because everything seems so easy for those guys. I think if the NBA actually had a lot of these stars come out and really kind of talk about what their everyday is like and how it gets down in the business of it, it'll make people understand a little bit more of how serious it is. You just see the fun. And I know the NBA doesn't want to do that because they want you to just see the fun so you continue to keep buying the jerseys, watching the game, buying all the games, all that different stuff. But I think you need to put a little bit more of a realistic spin on things and let them know, kind of the day-to-day so that they understand that it's just not all just playing the game and getting paid exorbitant amount of money,
Right.
Because, I mean, doctors, lawyers, and all that different stuff, people just don't want to go to school for 8 years, several years to do that type of stuff. But then I see a commercial with LeBron, and he said, "We don't need no more LeBrons."
Yeah, so I think most people, if you see success, you're gonna wanna be that. Like if you see success, if somebody shows me, yo, I'm being successful at being a doctor, somebody shows me, yo, you're a programmer and you're successful at that, you're getting the bag, it might make me want to do it. So that's sports is immediate. You immediately see that.
Yeah.
You don't immediately see somebody being an engineer and they're like putting stuff together and they're getting the bag. And
I mean, it's a lot of them working out and perfecting their game, and you have to give them respect for that. But you're also building off of natural ability, And so sometimes when it comes to becoming a doctor or becoming a lawyer, you have natural intellect, intelligence and stuff. Right. But it's still a lot of work that you have to do. Whereas a sports player, you just have to be good.
It's still work behind it though. See, this is just my opinion. Like doctors and lawyers, it's something in you that's in you that makes it to where that stuff seems a little easier than just for the regular man, right? Like you see the body, but you see it a different way. So it's like you being a doctor, it's going to be work, but it's going to be fun for you.
Maybe it's that connection with the passion. You have a certain level of passion for that.
For something,
that
yeah.
specific thing.
You know, you want to be, you want to be a truck driver. Maybe when you was a kid, you had a bunch of Tonka trucks, and you have no problem sitting in a car for hours and hours and hours. Like, you enjoy looking at the scenery. Certain stuff just works for you, right? Like me, when I was younger, it was like I want to be on TV or radio, have a microphone in my hand, give me a stage, whatever, an audience, and I'm good, right? Because Teddy B can talk. Right? But I didn't look at it more or less as a hindrance. I looked at it as a gift. Because I can meet somebody, like, I remember the first time I met Hill, and we was just talking randomly, because Hill and Sage was, you know what I'm saying, super tight. So it's like, well, if I'm super cool with Sage, and we talk about hoops, and we talk about this and that, I meet Hill, we balling, what you think about so-and-so, such? It was a camaraderie there. Why? Because if we got something to talk about, I'm cool with it. That, to me, that was a gift. So it was like I swayed more towards that. Like, I think a lot of these dudes is like...
He told the starter story at EFG, man.
This, yeah, in a sense, for real, because it was like common goals. You know what I mean? Common interests. But it's like a lot of these dudes, they go sports and entertainment because everybody watches TV and you see the flash and all that stuff on TV. But quite honestly, the people that you see on the screen are not the ones with the real money. It's the people behind the scenes.
The guy, the little measly little short guy that comes out and says, "Yeah, you know, we did it." It's like,
and they're like, "Who was that dude?" I'm like, "That's the guy that wrote the check."
I love Michael Jordan's Hall of Fame speech, because he was like, you know, who's the owner?
Krause,
Jerry Krause. Jerry Krause wasn't out there on the floor with us. Jerry Krause wasn't out. I said, "Woo, that ether make
that stuff to make your soul burn
slow,
so slow."
You know, Jordan is super competitive though. That's
that's the guy who was getting the bag. You know, So, I don't know. You want to wrap this up here?
I mean, I feel like as a people, just in general, black folks. It's more to life than sports and entertainment. Everybody gets sick. Nothing wrong with being a doctor. Everybody's car break down. Nothing wrong with being a mechanic. Because of hard days, honest work, nobody will ever knock you for that. It ain't always about trying to get the fast money and trying to go get the big bag all quick. Because if you don't know what to do with it, you're going to lose it anyway. So think bigger than what the norm is. Life is bigger than football, basketball, baseball, hockey, and soccer. It's bigger than BT, VH1, MTV, Yo MTV Raps, whatever, what have you, YouTube, Twitter. It's bigger than all that. Use whatever talents that you have and go with that. Because everybody's not a ball player. Teddy B. Love is 5'6.5". I had a decent jump shot when I played ball, but we all knew you're not going to the league. Hater. You're not going to the league, but you got to play to your strengths and what will work for you. Now, if it's in one of those lanes and that's just your God-given natural ability, then go for it. But don't force yourself in that peg if you don't have to. You know what I mean? You're trying to push a square peg into a circle. You know what I'm saying? It's just not going to happen.
I think to add on top of that, whatever you go into, make sure you master and understand the other aspects of it. So, case in point, you want to play ball, understand the business side of it.
Exactly.
And this is the thing. If you want to play ball, you may not, because there's a lot of people trying to get in the NBA. You might not make it to the NBA, but I know people who play overseas. They play in other leagues.
Yeah.
So that dream, you don't have to give up on it.
My cousin play overseas. He's been over there for like 6 years. He's straight.
I saw the story on Jimmy Fredette. He's a star in China. They love him, and he's getting paid. He still wants to come back to the NBA.
They make 6 figures over there.
Yeah. So I mean, what no matter what it is, you want to be a janitor, find out what's the best lane to get in to be a janitor. What goes into that? If you want to be, a programmer, find out what's the best avenue, what programs you need to learn so you can be a master at that, and then find out how much of the bag you can get. Master your craft. You know what I mean? As we keep working on this, we're gonna try to master this.
Be a jack of all trades. I mean, you may have different talents. Like, you don't have to be just because I'm young and I'm black, I have to go this route or I have to do this. You can do anything that you set your mind to. But just know you're going to have to work to do it.
Right.
It ain't gonna come easy to you. Ain't nobody gonna put nothing in your lap. You gonna have to work, and you gonna have to work harder than you ever thought you gonna have to work in your life just to get in the game.
Right.
Once you get in the game, you got to figure out how to stay.
Right.
Yeah.
That's where the networking and figuring out who does what better than you.
Yeah.
See, a smart person, they get a team around them that have people that do things better than them.
Yeah.
Right? I can do something really well, but Sage and Hill do stuff that I have no idea what I'm doing with. But I'll reach out to them. And shout out to the engineer because he does stuff that I have nothing to do with. I'm a dummy when it comes to it. But I have people around me that's their passion, that they can help me with what I'm doing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's my thoughts on the Sage. I know you got something to say.
No, actually, I don't have much to say. You two guys filled it up, put a nice little bow on it. So I concur with everything you said,
And somebody wrote into this, Renell said he wanted a shout out, so I'm going to give him a shout out. Shout out to you, Renell. All right.
Man, we not taking payola.
Yo,
What's wrong
man,
with you?
unless he was, going to give that bag.
Oh, so you need the bag.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'll redact that shout out. And
It's too late
Nah,
now.
you already did it, man. Mess it up
random
again
shout
one
out.
more time.
Shout out to my mama. Shout out to my daddy. Shout out to my son.
Shout out to Pookie and Ray Ray.
Right.
We hold
Hey,
it
and
down.
real talk though,
P.O.P.
anybody who wants us to advertise any of their businesses or anything on this show, we'll shout out your business or whatever.
Hill will.
We can talk about.
I gotta see what your business is about before I decide to do that stuff. Hill will.
Hey, I will. Hey, get the bag, man. Keep the bag expand.
When is that gonna get old? I'm just curious.
What?
Get the bag. Yes.
It ain't gonna get bag. We running that until we get the bag.
What if it's a Kroger bag? You don't want that bag. Get the thank you bag. Like, no.
All these bags.
Right, all these cats be talking about, man, I'm getting the bag, bro. You getting the thank you bag. It's got 2 3X white t-shirts in it, a pack of Swishers, some Newports, and an Arizona tee. That's the bag you get.
You get a bag from the dentist, with your little bit of floss
and your toothpaste and rice.
Man.
So stop with this. We get in the bag.
All right,
man.
so what we gonna come up with,
Getting
man?
the Ziploc bag.
We got to come up with something different, man. Maybe we'll figure it out.
Getting the mints.
I don't
That's what
know.
I'm on.
Secure your life.
Secure your life.
Secure your
Forget
life.
secure the bag. Secure your life.
Nah, secure your soul. That's what I'm saying.
All right, man. It's EFG.
It's EFG.
And we're wrapping it up. Peace and love. Hit us up. Twitter, SoundCloud. Hey, we out.
YouTube, Instagram, all that.
And we out of here.
Oh, YouTube. That's right. YouTube, we got it cracking. So, yes.
Yeah, check out YouTube.
See you next week.
EFG, we all we got.